I want to introduce you to this rigorous branch of modern psychological research where different cohorts of people have been given a questionnaire to probe the way they conceptualize success. Effectively, this questionnaire is asking, where does high performance come from? And broadly speaking, in answer to this one question, there are two categories of answer. Over here, people say, well, to be really good at my job or some dimension of skill within the job, it's largely, or for some people almost exclusively, about talent. Having the right predispositions, the right aptitude, the right kind of brain, the right kind of genetic inheritance in order to excel. And I think most of us would probably agree that this isn't completely false. Talent is a real phenomenon and explains a lot of the variation that we see in many branches of human activity. But over here, people give a subtly different answer where they say, yeah, talent isn't irrelevant, but in the complex world, it isn't enough. And they're focused on the other ingredients that are also very predictive of success, like disciplined practice, constantly evaluating what one is doing through time, and crucially, a recognition that however good I am, even if I'm a genius, I can nevertheless get better. This is sometimes called the fixed mindset. This one over here, the growth mindset. They're not quite as binary as I've perhaps made them sound. This is a spectrum. But what is exciting about this psychological research is that depending on where people sit on this continuum, and what is effectively their answer to one question, you can measure the behavior. So if we take David Beckham as an example, a journalist said to him, it's almost as if taking free kicks was encoded in your DNA. You're such a natural. And he looks like a natural. He curls it into the top corner. It's fluent. It looks wonderful. And Beckham said, the only reason you're saying that is you see the free kick against Greece at Old Trafford or wherever else. What you don't see is the 6-year-old kid in his back garden in Leytonstone only able to do 3 keep-me-ups. But 3 years of practice, 4 hours every day, learning from his mistakes, iterating his technique. Sport practice is trial and error learning, where the learning is encoded in the brain and central nervous system. That's how he got to where he is. But if children think that success is instant and effortless for the super talented, because they only see the performance, they see the tip of the iceberg, and they try something new like the violin and they're not immediately playing like a virtuoso, they think, well, I'm obviously not cut out for it, and they give up. Resilience is a direct psychological consequence of the empirical model that we carry around in our heads as we go through life. The reason the growth mindset is so predictive is, to use the language of Daniel Kahneman, it's a heuristic. It's a fast-thinking heuristic that is guiding the interpretation process. So when you change that basic empirical model with children by telling them stories about how success actually happens, by talking about the brain as a bit like a muscle that grows with use, talking about brain plasticity and a whole range of other things, you change the interpretational process, you shift them to the growth mindset. With businesses, the same thing happens, but with a slightly different set of tools to shift. Because it's the real cutting-edge companies that are camped out in this terrain that fully understand, that Google, Goldman Sachs, that if they really want to remain ahead of the game, if they don't want to have the fate that was Blockbuster, they've got to be over here. And they require everyone in the organization to be equipped with that growth mindset so they're both iterating their own performance, learning and evaluating every day, and at a strategic level, they're doing exactly the same thing.